In this video, you're going to watch me and how I process decluttering my homeschool load. Last school year was not great. I think I got caught up in trying all the things, and they were all good things, but by the end of the year, I kind of felt like I was lost and I had kind of lost my original path that I'd wanted for our homeschool. So I started evaluating and thinking, and I looked at all the things and all the choices that I was making for our homeschool. And when I looked at how things would go, in the future and things to come, I felt like it was getting further and further away from what I had originally dreamed about what our homeschool could look like, and the vision that I originally had for myself as a homeschool mom and for my kids and their education. I think I got so caught up in trying to look like everybody else's homeschool that I had forgotten what our homeschool was supposed to look like. This is probably the downside of having access to the internet, right guys? Where we can see all these other homeschool moms and how they're doing it currently or how they did it. Or we can learn from other moms and just get ideas for our homeschool. So that can be the plus side, but the downside is if we try to look like everybody else, we're not gonna know what we want for our homeschool, especially when you get bogged down by trying all the ideas, because there's just so many good things out there, so many options, so many opportunities, both inside the home and outside the home. And I have to admit, friend, that I got caught up in that. I know I share my homeschool here on my channel. I know you are watching me for ideas and things, but I have kind of fallen off what I think what our homeschool was supposed to be. And I've gotten caught up in trying to try all the good things. There's so many great unit studies and curriculum and books to do, and there's so many great ways to do things. And so I find when I try to pack in all the things, they might all be good things, I either become like drill sergeant mom, because we have so many things to get through. So it's constantly like,
get your school done, we've got to go here, we've got to go there.
We've got to get this done. Or I look at all that I want to do and I want to accomplish, and then I get so overwhelmed that I don't do anything. So I swing from one side to the other. It's hard to admit that to you, but that's just how I do homeschool sometimes. And you only see pieces of it, but I just want to share that with you, that I swing back and forth between those two moms. So back to my story. At the end of the school year, this last school year, I decided that something had to change, that I need to pick what is best for my kids and our homeschool right now. And not what's best for, Susie's homeschool, or not what I could be doing with the kids over the next 7 years. So what are the best things, like the best of the best that we can do right now? So I was talking with a few close friends and listening to some really encouraging audiobooks and podcasts. And I realized when I say yes to things, anytime I'm saying yes to something,
oh sure, we can try that. Oh sure, we can try that.
It means I'm saying no to something else. And I finally realized that because I was saying yes to a lot of things, I was saying no to certain things that are our family's current values. So I really sat down and I thought about this, and I realized I need to prioritize what we can realistically accomplish within a day or a week. Because we only have so many hours in a day, we only have so many hours in a week, and I don't want to cram them all stuffed full where we don't have any white space or margin. And it's hard. This is really hard for me because I like saying yes to a lot of things. So I've done a video in the past where I talk about this because there's a lot of really good opportunities out there, a lot of really good things, but we are finite humans, we have a capacity, and we can't do all the things. There's not enough time in the day, right? And I knew this back when I started homeschooling. I know this, but I've fallen into it, and it's okay. We're gonna just pick ourselves up and just try again. We repent and we start over and we start fresh. Totally fine to do, right? So I talked about this in my Scattered Homeschool Mom video, where you do need to prioritize your time and only say yes to the good things that matter. So my previous self knew this, but my current self needs to learn it all over again. So that means it's time to cut back, time to simplify. And I know, I feel like simplify is like a buzzword right now on the internet and everything, but it's just like when you have your house and you get bogged down with a lot of things and you find you have to declutter and you have to get rid of things that are in your house that are taking up space that maybe you don't need or don't use anymore, or maybe it's broken and needs to go in the trash, right? So you need to do a big declutter of your home. So you can do that with your homeschool as well, I think. Sometimes our homeschool loads need to be decluttered. You know, our routines, our outside activities, our curriculums, our activities, our books. Just declutter, not really just the physical things, but just what you're trying to pack in for your kids to do each day and each week. In this video, you're going to watch me and how I process decluttering my homeschool load. I really hope that this can help you so you can do the same for your load, so you can find out what your family's current values are. Then you figure out what's going to stay, and then we can figure out what needs to be cut and we don't have time for it and we need to declutter. So that way we can make space for what we really value and treasure for our children and for our home. So welcome to Joyful Noise Learning. If we haven't met yet, hey, I'm Ashley. I'm a former English school teacher. Yes, former English public school teacher and current stay-at-home homeschooling mom to 3 kiddos. We just started 7th, 5th, and 3rd grade this year. I like to find the joy among the chaos in life and homeschooling. So that's what I share here on my channel. And we talk about the scattered homeschool mom, affordable homeschool curriculum, and Charlotte Mason inspired homeschooling. So if you are interested in any of that, we'd love for you to consider sticking around. Hit that subscribe button or a thumbs up, either one helps. So step 1, we need to take inventory. So I did this on my notes in my phone and I wrote down all the things that I was currently doing. Like all the things. So that included like our morning time, our Bible, all the subjects we do together, like science and math and history. We don't do math together, but math is in there. Science and history. That includes all the things my kids do on their own, like their handwriting, their readers, copy work, math, of course, I said that. So I wrote down all the things that we were currently doing. Okay, so you can do that. So you can pause this video, grab a piece of paper, and write it down. Write down all the things you're currently doing. And then I had to include our extracurriculars. So we do co-op, we were doing karate, we are doing ninja core, piano lessons, sometimes swimming lessons, and did I mention co-op? Okay, I did that. We do church activities and youth group. You know, I wanted to include like all of that too, because that was kind of part of this load decluttering that I was thinking about. You know, when I made sure to include, you know, typing and anything they do online, as well in courses like that. Okay, did you write your list, your inventory? Okay, step 2 is to figure out your family values. So I call this, or not I call this, but I heard this called, I think I heard this from Sarah Mackenzie, probably in the book Teaching from Rest, and on her podcast and on her blog, and other moms have said this, but it's called the list of 6. You want to come up with 1 to 6 things that are important for your family right now. And these could be specific as I need my kids to take piano lessons, or as general as music is important for our family. Does that make sense? By the way, if you want a printable, yes, I made a fun printable to go along with all of this that I'm talking about right here. Hold on, my dog's drinking water. You can probably hear that. Okay. Let's try that again. If you want a printable, I made a fun printable that is going along with everything that I'm talking about here in this video. And I know this is helping me and I thought it'd be fun to share it with you. The way to get it though is I have it submitted to the premium membership in the Made to Homeschool community. If you haven't heard of Made to Homeschool yet, you can totally join for 7 days for free and you can go around and check it out and you can get access to this downloadable printable next week. I think when this video is posted, it will be live on the Made to Homeschool community content library next week. So you'll get access to the content library if you join the premium membership. And the content library isn't just me. There's several other of your favorite homeschool creators, both from YouTube and blogging and Instagram. Some of my friends are there, and they're creating tons of amazing content just for you. We also have the communities, which I love. We get to chat together in there and talk homeschool in these community groups. And we have live workshops, live meetups, and tons more. There's deals for some of your favorite homeschool curriculum creators. Just lots of great stuff in this Made to Homeschool membership. So check that out. You can join for 7 days for free, and I'll put the link to that in the description in this video. Or in the comments. Yeah, maybe in the comments too. Okay, I need to look at my notes. They're gonna sit over here. So when we're making our list of 6, back to the list of 6, by the way, we ask the question, what is most important for my kids, our family, even me, and our homeschool right now? So what are the things we value? So yes, on one hand, you need to think of where you desire your homeschool to go, but that's more like your vision and your goal and your why, your homeschooling why, which I have a video on talking about your homeschooling why. But that's not exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for the values that go along towards that why. So yes, you want to think about the overall goal, but we're going to think like what's most important in these next few months or the year. Don't go further than a year because things change. So in this moment, you know, for example, is nature study important for you right now? Is getting outside and being outside important? Is your kids growing in reading fluency important? Is making sure you get math lessons done every day important? And I'm talking about myself right there. That's mine for this year. We have to get math lessons done every day because we didn't do that last year. Maybe it's something like outside of the house, like gymnastics. Maybe gymnastics are important for you and your family right now. I know one family, gymnastics and their swimming lessons are like their priority, and they schedule their homeschool around those things, which I think is really cool, you know, but that's what their family does. Maybe it's Bible study and learning the history of the Bible or worldview or family style devotions. Maybe that's important for you right now. Or maybe musical and musical instruments. And that's one that I decided for our family is music is important for us. So we will always keep music lessons no matter what. So write down those 1 to 6 things. Please take the time to pray over it as well and see what the Lord is saying about your family and for you. And He will be faithful and He'll help you through this. And talk to your husband too. That's nice and important to include him in this. You could even talk to your kids. This is also important. I had a good talk with my kids recently, mainly about screen time and video games and how for one of my children, like that is important for him, but I explained to him why, yes, we will include screen time, but it's not as important as some of the other things our family is desiring to do right now and focus on. So that was a really good talk I had with him. I talked with my daughter about this, and she said that having time to write and work on her own book is important for her right now. And I was like, ooh, that's good. So those are just some examples that I did for our family that helped me think, okay, what do we want to focus on right now? Step 3 is the keep list. So normally when you're decluttering a house, you often think, oh, what's trash, what needs to go away? But sometimes you need to switch your perspective and you need to start thinking of what are you keeping? Like what is gonna stay? What are my most important things for this room, this space? We're gonna do the same thing for our homeschool, guys. So you're gonna look back at that list that you made of all the things that you do currently, and you're like, instead of looking at what you need to cut first, I want you to look at what you can keep. So for me, I looked back at my list, and like I said, music is important. So piano lessons keeps. We keep it, we stay, we make it stay. Let me back up. By the way, these things that you decide to keep should match your list of 6 that you just came up with, your overall values for your family. So like I said, for example, music is one of our values, so we decided to keep piano lessons. That was not going away. Like books and curriculum activities. Math is important. It's not going away, so we're keeping our math. My children and I do not want to keep math, but we're going to keep it because we know it's important for their life and for higher education. So, and just being a good functioning adult. So the other thing is Bible, understanding the Bible, reading it together as a family, having them read it individually themselves. I'm definitely keeping that. That is a huge value for our family. Living books and good literature, reading together and them reading on their own was also very important. So any curriculum that I decide to pick this coming year, I want to make sure that it fits that we're reading good books and not relying on certain textbooks. Again, not that textbooks are bad, but I just know that if I'm saying yes to too many textbooks, then I don't get to say yes to enough, living literature. So that was step 3, right? Did you go back to that list? You picked the things that you want to keep. So now we get to slice and dice. So now it's time for the cut list. So again, go back to your original list of everything that you're doing, all the things. Now you're gonna look and see the things that you've been doing that you don't need to do anymore. So what are things that can be cut and be gone because A, you don't have the time, or B, they're not fulfilling your family's goals and values? So one example, one huge example for us, which I'm very sad about, but it's okay, I'm letting it go, is karate. My boys had been doing karate for the last 2 years, and I saw good things coming from it, but the boys didn't want to do it anymore, and the time that it took us out of the house, especially during the day, because staying home and being home to do school is very important for me this year. So we had to cut karate this year. And I'm so sad, but it's okay. It's for this season. Maybe they'll pick it up when they're older, but if not, that's okay. We had to lay something down, and we're okay with it. The other thing is my boys were doing Ninja Core, and they were doing it during the day. There was like a homeschool class that started at like 12:30, but I noticed that that was really cutting into our school time, and there was a lot of school not getting done on Thursdays. So I said, you know what, we need to say no to this, because it's taking us out of the house at a not opportune time. And we're not cutting it, actually, we're just moving it to an evening, later afternoon slot. And that was an easy decision to make because they enjoy it and they love it, but it just needed to be a different time in our week. Okay, another example that I'm gonna give from my own personal story is maybe you've been heavy on the history for the last several years, but you've been kind of not doing a lot of science at home. Oh yeah, that's me. Yeah, so when I realized that I'm not cutting out history, I'm just lowering the priority of it and simplifying it, because normally I have like 2 to 3 history curriculums that I'm doing. So instead of doing like 2 or 3 history, we're just narrowing it down to 1.5, 1.5 histories. And we're gonna add in a science because I'd been very terrible about making science a priority, and we did it very rarely in the last few years. Not that my kids haven't been doing anything for science. They're very interested in science. They do other things, but I just haven't had a set aside time for a science curriculum in a few years. So now that my kids are getting older, and we've done a lot of history, we're gonna like balance those scales just a little bit. And that was something that I noticed that needed to change to go along with our family's values and for my kids' overall education. Another thing that helps me as I was thinking through this, oh, this was hard. I had to cut out one of the math curriculums I like, and that was really sad. But when I thought about how I decided to put my son in an independent math, online math this year. And I had been kind of against it for a while, but I realized that I needed that time to work with my youngest a little bit more and to work with my son on his science and his reading. So those were things that I had dropped last year or just didn't do a lot of. And we needed more space for that. So I realized if he did an independent math, he could get that done on his own, and that would leave up time and space for me to be able to do more of the science lessons that we've been needing to do, or more time to be with my youngest to work on his math and his reading, because he's still only 3rd grade and still needs me a lot more for his independent subjects. So I'm really excited about that, and I think that's going to be a good choice that will help all of us. Help all of us. So okay, so did you slice and dice? Did you cut that list up like I did? Did you cut things out? And then I'm gonna do a bonus thing here. I didn't talk about it in the printable, but you can add things in, but I would be very, very, very careful with that. So like I said, for me in my history science thing, you know, I'm gonna cut back on the history in order to add the science. But again, I would be very careful with what you add, because our whole point here is to simplify, right? Everybody say it, simplify. Our whole point here is to give ourselves space and to be able to have not the perfect homeschool schedule. That's not what we're working towards, right? Although we want to. Our goal here is not to have the perfect homeschool schedule, not to have the perfect homeschool in general, but to give us the time and space to do what is realistic for our kids and for ourselves, because we're not super women. We're super women, right? But we're not, we're finite. You know, we cannot do all of this on our own. We definitely need the Lord's strength and power for this. I know that. But we need to be careful, because sometimes we can get a little bit overloaded. I don't want you to cut back like, let me give you this, this little thing here at the end. I don't want you to cut back so far that you're only doing 2 things, you know. Maybe some of you might have the tendency to swing back and forth, like I said. We're not cutting back so much that we're like, oh, this is easy. You know, we're not trying to make homeschool easy, but we want to make it realistic and doable. That is my whole goal here. Not to make it too easy, but not to be too challenging either. You know, we want to make it realistic. And that's so hard. You're probably like me, where you just have those ideal, amazing, beautiful pictures in your head, but sometimes reality doesn't match those. And that's totally okay. It's okay to dream, but we need to come back to reality sometimes and to realize we only have a certain amount of time that we can manage for our homeschool days and for our kids, because it's important for us to know we have limited capacity. And like I said, this is a great time for us to lean into the Lord and rely on Him when we are feeling like we can't do it all, because we can't. John 15 verse 5 says, Jesus says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. So we're not going to bear that fruit in our homeschool, ladies, unless we are attached to the vine. And we really need Him. We need His strength. We need His wisdom. And I really hope that you're seeking Him for your homeschool right now. And I think it's really important to take inventory of our homeschool in order to focus on and find what is most important for us and for our kids right now. Jesus also said in Matthew 6, chapter 33, to seek first the kingdom of heaven and seek ye first the kingdom of God. Let's just say it from the song. Everybody, seek ye first. Okay. The kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So seek Him first. Seek His kingdom and seek His goodness for your homeschool this year. And I pray that He gives you a great homeschool year. Even though it might be hard, like it's not going to be easy, I'm praying that this decluttering activity helps you and that the Lord leads you to what is best for you in your homeschool right now. So tell us in the comments below, what do you need to declutter or change this year for your homeschool? I would love to hear about that. And remember, it's never too late to simplify. It's never too late to change things. Never too late to put the brakes down and try something else because you realize you're not going in the right direction. Don't forget to join the Made to Homeschool 7-day free trial, and I'll see you over there in that community, and you can get access to that printable if you join the premium membership next week. And you might like this video from when I was planning for my kids for this homeschool year, and I share about my planner in there. You rock at homeschooling. Go find His joy among the noise.